Hi, this is Stacy with Lily Bean Crafts by Stacy. Welcome back. And if it's your first time, thanks for stopping by. Today I am going to be making a winter tumbler with snowflakes, and I'm starting off with this 17-ounce wine tumbler that I got from the Stainless Depot, which I have already cleaned, prepped, and spray painted. And I'm using the glitter glue method, and I am going in with my very favorite white glitter, which is Skin of a Killer. I really needed one that's going to be a very bright, vibrant white with a lot of sparkle to it. So that's why I'm going in with this one. I went ahead and made sure I got full coverage from it, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this parchment paper and I'm just going to like tap it down. Even though it's a fine cut, it has several different glitter mixes in there. So I want to make sure that it's really smooth so that it'll be a lot easier when I am applying my epoxy. So now I'm going to put this off to the side and let it dry for 4 hours, and then I'm going to go in with my first coat of glitter glue, just making sure that I get this all sealed and patting it down just a little bit more. Once I have this completely covered, I'm going to go ahead and put this off to the side again and let it dry for another 4 hours. And now I'm going to start my first epoxy coats. I am going in with 20 mLs of my Flynn Sisters Fast Set Epoxy. I'm going to go ahead and get this completely covered, let it spin for about 2 hours, and then I'm going to go directly in with another 10 mLs of my Fast Set Epoxy, pop any bubbles, and let that spin again for another 4 hours until it is completely dry. You want to make sure that it is completely smooth. If it's not, then you want to sand it and put another coat on. Mine was smooth, so I was able to start working with my stencils. So I found this snowflake design on Creative Fabrica, and I'll go ahead and I'll link it in the description. And I have this stencil vinyl that I got from Amazon, and I'm not a fan of it, so I'm not going to link it. You can find better stencil vinyls out there, even the Cricut brand at this point. This was a large roll for a good price, so I went ahead and bought it thinking it would last me a long time because I go through so much of it. And as you can see, like the paper backing keeps getting stuck. It's very frustrating. I wound up ripping some of the stencil, and yeah, with it as crazy as it is this time of the year, getting orders done for the holiday season, it was a little frustrating. So, but it was what I had, so I worked with it and I got it all on, and it just took me a little bit longer. And then I'm just going to go ahead and just, no rhyme or reason, I'm putting these snowflakes all over the design. And then once this is all done, I'm going to take it outside and spray paint it. And if you haven't done so yet, come check out my Lily Bean Crafters Community Facebook group. I will have it linked in the description. Once I have all the snowflakes on here and I know exactly where it's going to be shining through, I will then go ahead and take the rest of the tumbler and sand it just to make sure there's no bumps, because once you spray paint it, it seems like every little imperfection or everything just comes right through in that spray paint. So I will go ahead and take it outside and I will sand it down really good, and then I'm going to spray paint it with some red spray paint. I used Stiletto from Color Shot spray paints, and now I am taking my Southern Belle glitter glue, or foil glue, sorry, my Southern Belle foil glue, and I'm just taking a little paintbrush here that I got from the dollar store because I know it's going to be going right into the garbage as soon as I'm done with this. And then I'm just going to get full coverage. Now what I am doing is it looks really sloppy, but I am purposely going in several different directions with the foil glue on the snowflake portion of it, the peekaboo, because I want to make sure that all of the foil gets all, or the glue gets all over that, because well, I'll show you why it's really important when it gets going. And then I'm just taking this other little dollar store brush and just smoothing it all out so that it looks really nice. And then I'm going to go ahead and start getting the foils on there. Now, I decided at the last minute to make this, and these foils are from Amazon. I will link it in the description. I would recommend, if you're planning on doing this in the future, to use a better foil, like Southern Belle or Artistic Painting Studio. They both have amazing foils. I don't do a lot of foil work, so I generally decide at the last minute, and that's why I always just jump on Amazon, because I can get it in a day or two. Once again, I am not a foil expert. I'm more of the kind of foil person that likes to make it look like distressed. And with this, I was trying to get it to be a little bit more elegant and get full coverage. So I'm just using the back of a paintbrush here and really getting into the corners of all of the stencil vinyl. And that's why when I was applying the glitter or the foil glue, it's why I wanted to make sure that I got it so it was around all of the edges of the snowflakes, because it really makes a difference. So I'm trying to get it on as good as possible from the very beginning, and I'm just going to kind of let you watch the process, and then once I have to start going over it, I will explain a little bit more what my rhyme and reason was on the way that I handled it. This is where I know if I had a better foil, it would have worked better. It just didn't get into all around the corners of the stencil vinyl as good as I would have liked. So I knew it was going to take several different layers to really get it where I needed it to go. So what I'm going to keep doing is just applying some glue, and then I have this little dryer that's next to me, and I'm just going to go ahead and dry it, because you want to make sure that the foil glue is dry and nice and tacky. If it's still wet, the foil just won't stick to it like it should. So I'm just going to just keep going back and forth over all of the places, getting it. It did take me quite a bit of time to get this done, and I actually did wind up running out of foil, and then I had to order more foil in to get this done. So I probably went through like 4 or 5 sheets of the foil to get this all done. And yeah, trying to be a perfectionist with foil is a really bad idea. Sometimes you just gotta let it be and not try to get it so perfectly. I will tell you what I have learned is that when you are laying the foil down on the tacky glue, you want to make sure that you have the foil big enough to fit it, because if you have any like just pieces of like the plastic with no foil on it from the transfer paper, and you pull it up, it will pull up all of the foil that's already been on there, and it like leaves like this white residue, which was very frustrating. But once again, this is all about learning. So it did eventually work out. It did take me more time than I probably needed it to, because I kept messing up with how I was applying it. I learned a lot from it, and I just hope that I can prevent some of you from making the same mistakes that I made. So I'm just going to keep this going, and I basically just did the same thing over and over again. The nice thing about foil is if you mess up a spot, all you have to do is put more glue down, lay down the foil, and it takes any of the imperfections away. Downside is you just keep going and going and going, and you need to eventually get to the point where you're like, it is good. It's going to be good. And that's exactly what happened. I'm finally getting to the point where I'm just about done with it. There's just a couple other little spots on here that I wanted to mess with. And then once I had it all done, I'm going to take it outside and spray it with some clear sealant, just to kind of secure the foil on there. And then once I let that dry, I'm going to start the process of taking off all of the stencil vinyl. Now my favorite part of making a peekaboo. I am just going to go ahead and start very carefully taking my little weeding pick and pulling all of this stencil vinyl and getting it off. It came off really easily. I just really took my time with it because I did not want to scratch up the foils. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes and let the process happen of removing all of the stencil vinyl. And inevitably, a few little scratches happen. It happens every time that I'm doing any weeding. And then once I was already fixing a couple of little scratches, I saw a few more imperfections. Why not? Of course, I'm going to fix it. And yeah, I dried it off. And then I'm just taking a little bit of the foil and just kind of like making sure that it's got all the little imperfections that I could see taken care of, and then we're going to go ahead and get this under epoxy. Now I'm going in with my final coats of epoxy. This is 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy. I'm going to go ahead and get full coverage, pop any bubbles, let this spin for 4 hours. Then I'm going to sand it really good, and then I'm going to go in with my final 10 mLs of my Flynn Sisters Artist Cure resin. This is the epoxy that's going to give it that beautiful shine, and also I feel like I get less imperfections with it than any other epoxy that I've ever worked with. The bubbles just don't seem to happen. And I will let that spin for 8 to 10 hours until it is all dry. And then I'm going to go ahead and start applying some rhinestones to the tumbler. So I decided that I just wanted to do UV resin for the glue. And this is a scatter mix that I got from Flynn Sisters, which I will have linked in the description. And I'm taking just a little bit, just a dab of my UV resin, and I'm just going to put one individual piece. I use the scatter mix because it's all different sizes, and since there's all different size snowflakes, I wanted to do that. I literally only had to put it under the lamp for like 20 seconds, and it was dry. What you want to do is try to prevent yourself from putting too much of the UV resin on there. You don't want it to like bubble up around the side of the rhinestone. So really just a little dab. I did have paper towel there just in case I put a little bit too much on. I didn't want to take a chance on it like coming up along the sides of the rhinestone. And I just kept repeating that process with different sizes to fit each of the snowflakes, and then putting it under the lamp, and then it will be all done. And this is the final product. Got it done just in time for the holiday season. It is going to one of my best friends as a present for her. And if you like this tutorial, please hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll see everybody again next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.